Hello, people from FoG. Many of you know me as Loki. I am about 2.5 weeks away from spending another year in college, and figure now is as good of time as any to make a webcam video, because the only topic I could really think of that would be, decently entertaining is going over the projects I made in my my second and third design studios. You won't be seeing anything from first because those were primarily models, and those never survived the trip up back from Oklahoma. One thing I hope you'll notice is all these projects are designed by hand, absolutely no computer modeling or anything like that. Uh, all the each drawing is, again made by hand with ink and straight edge and just variety of architectural tools. Um, well, I can't really bring them in front of the camera because there's just far too many. They take up all four walls in my room, and that'd just be a pain to have to parade them through. So I'm going to be moving the camera around, and so just to give you a heads up, because you will be moving quite a bit. I will also try to present these in the order of which they were made, starting with Studio 2 and moving on to Studio 3. Alright, so alright. So this first one is called Nigel's Folly. It's actually the best grade I have ever received on a studio project by getting an A-. Pretty much what we had to do was take a 3x3 grid and highlight a few lines and then a few intersections, and go from there by adding a focal point and adding contrast between white and dark, and then pretty much just build up from there. Pretty much just a brief overview, just to keep this thing somewhat short. This was a row house a little bit later in the semester. Gives you an idea of just how narrow the building is. This was just to guess used to working with spaces and pretty much tight quarters, and pretty simple as far as layouts go. This was probably about a 2-week project, and then on to Studio 3. You kind of see a huge difference in what they expect between the requirements for each studio. This one was, I had 3 projects in Studio 3, each one divided evenly, so about a month it took to make this, from concept all the way down to this final project. Again, all of it has been done by hand. Essentially, this building is a community center to be meshed with the bank, and so had to work around those stipulations, as well as have this massive tree and a monument be one of the focal points on the lot, and just series of things to design around and account for. Not too much really to say about this project. Give you an idea of perspective. Again, all done by hand. Circles are not fun as far as perspectives are concerned. Yeah. And now on to the next project of that semester, Sundance Institute and Cafe, which is pretty much a theater and a coffee house combined. Again, gives you an idea of just how much they ask for with each project over the course of a single studio. An interior perspective, again, not fun to do, but not as hard as an exterior. Let's see. Really, the main challenge with this was just getting the theater placed and then everything to go around it, while sticking with the Sundance Institute, just as their concepts, as far as film and everything like that is concerned. Not really too much else to say about this one. You'll notice that the color bar, that is pastel. Essentially, I just shaved a piece of pastel chalk with my X-Acto knife and then rubbed it in with the cotton ball to get that interesting color, much cleaner than paint, and then just used fixative to keep it in place. This last project is the last one for the Studio 3. Gives you an idea of just how how big it is. Not so much as far as drawings are concerned, but the length of the boards. This was the one I'm most proud of, but again, with all the other projects you saw aside from that first one, they all got me a C. Just gives you an idea of how hard it is to appease the professors. But fortunately, that doesn't matter too much because I'm an engineer and not an architect. This is nature center for where our college is located. You can kind of see in the site plan just all the stuff that we had to work around, and my concept with this was pretty much trying to mimic a tree to a certain point where you have several branches reaching off and looking at key points of the site. As you can kind of see from this elevation, the amount of detail I put into the walls, each one of those flagstones were done by hand, as well as shading and all that. So you can kind of see why I'm so proud of this project, because it took a lot of time and effort to do all that. I really think it looks nice. Apparently the professors disagree. In this section, you'll notice a bunch of vertical lines. That's because essentially the walls are comprised of a series of pillars that are interlaced with glass for the more public spaces, just to give it a more foresty feel to it, and make it a lot more wide open as far as sight lines are concerned. And another interior perspective, this is of the that bottom right on the section. It's pretty much a museum display area that overlooks the little lake that's positioned next to. Yeah, just gonna keep this short. Gives you an idea of. I'm so glad to have to do an exterior perspective of this, because that would have been a pain in the ass with all those curved lines and whatnot. Alright, well, that's all five of the projects that I have pinned up on my wall. There we are. So pretty much the way that these design studios work, you are given a certain time period in which the project will take place. These past three, like I said, are approximately a month each, and you have 1 week to conceptualize, do all your research and just jot down a bunch of ideas. Then the next 2 weeks are pretty much taking that design, drawing it out, showing it to a professor or a crit, and they'll make suggestions in which you change, and then repeat the process, draw them, show it to a professor, crit, etc. And then that final week is what we call charrette, where essentially we take all these ideas, put them all together, and then put them on a board, which is a very, very intense week, because it takes a lot of time to put all that stuff on the board, then ink it, then color it, then render it, etc. And not much sleep during that week. I usually average, if I'm lucky, about 12 to 16 hours of sleep per week during charrette. Not fun times, but fortunately this past semester I have finished my last studio, which is a comprehensive design, which essentially it was an entire semester long project where we had to design every aspect of the building, from the design to the mechanical systems, lighting, etc. A lot of effort put into it. I even had a lot more focus on structure because I'm an engineer after all. That project, when it was all said and done, had about 100 square feet worth of drawings. So obviously I don't have the space on my walls here to pin them up. And Studio 4 was just somewhat disorganized, and none of those drawings were really long-term lasting. Pretty much they're all done on trace and tore easily. We'll just leave it at that. So that's pretty much just an idea of the type of work I'm doing at college, and this next year is my last. I'm looking forward to being done and out in the real world. Uh, Pretty easy year as far as studios or as far as classes are concerned. So I'm really looking forward to having a social life again. It's something that I missed in the past 3-4 years. All right. Well, nice talking to you guys. Bye.